welcome to the Gothic Unicorn. Today's video is something that I've been putting off for a long time. I am of course referring to the electrics in my big house. Now, I'm not quite ready to do everything yet, but we're starting to get there. Now, this is going to be a bit of a collaboration with my husband's channel, Mad Science, because my husband has done some work on the lights, which I will explain in a bit. And he took video footage, so he's actually got a couple of videos showing what he's done over on his channel, and I will link them below. So if you actually want to know technically how we are going to do what we're doing, nip on over there and he'll show you in great detail. Anyway, wiring the doll's house. You may be aware that the house was wired. When I bought it, I didn't have a clue how to do the electrics, and I did my research, which at the time involved magazines and books for the most part, and talking to a couple of people at Doll's House shows. And I figured out that there were two main ways. The one way was the copper tape method, whereby you put copper tape around the doll's house and the lights are attached to it. They're either soldered or some people use yeah, I think what they're called in a minute, like hole rivety things. I can't think what they're called for the life of me, but they were attached into the tape. Now, my problem with this was that I saw a lot of people having to pull their doll's house apart because they put the tape underneath wallpaper, and either it had shown through because the paper wasn't thick enough, or they had a problem and they basically had got to pull everything apart to find the problem. Now, there was a hybrid method at the time, which was using wired lights into copper tape, and that seemed too complicated for me. So I decided I was just going to go for wired. Now, wired lights, and this is a light, and that's the wire that's used. It's the wire that's on there, and you can buy it in rolls. There's 50 feet there. What I went for, and these come with a little plug on the end, which you can possibly see in this packet, and they fit into what is in effect a long power strip, an extension lead you might call it, and you plug your lights in, or you can plug in a secondary strip that goes to a basement or something like that, that can then be removed. Now, I think I've still got one somewhere, but I can't find it, and I'm not planning necessarily on using them, so they may have left the building. But that's what I used, and what I did was I put notches into the floors of the rooms above where the lights were going to be, to hide the wires under the carpets, and it kind of worked. The one problem was the amount of light you got. Now, these lights used little lamps, little bulbs that were replaceable in most cases, and they were worked on 12 volts, but you had a transformer, and the transformer decided how many bulbs you could have, not how many lights. This wasn't light fittings, because if you had a big light fitting with multiple individual bulbs, it counted for a lot. Now, on the back of this one, it does say that they do 12 volt transformers for up to 16 bulbs or up to 32 bulbs, which seems a lot. Well, it is until you decide to plug in Christmas lights. And when I used to decorate my house for Christmas and I had my Christmas lights on the front, I used to have to plug in my transformer that was big enough to do the entire house, to do the Christmas lights, and just have certain lights on inside by unplugging all these little plugs on the back. Now the problem with this is the transformers got very hot. This was my experience. I didn't like leaving it on for any length of time. And then I had a light that failed. One of my bigger, more expensive lights failed and kept blowing the fuse. So I was like, I'm just going to have them as non-working lights. And my husband, who has something of an interest in electronics, said, well, we can do this another way. And he suggested that we put LEDs in. Now, I spent a lot of money on my lights. If you've looked at lights these days, you know they're not cheap. It's not a cheap option if you want nice lights. You can make your own. You know, people do. I have done in one of my houses. I used a small string of Christmas lights. But if you want detailed lights, they're pricey. And I was like, I don't want to spend all that money again. And he said, well, we can have a go at converting them. And this is how this came about. He decided he was going to convert them to LED. Now, in this video, we're going to focus on, I think it's 5 lights, 5 different fittings, which are the ones that he did and filmed. This is actually another one that he's done. That has now got an LED in instead of a conventional bulb, which is awesome. I've never fitted that one, so it's still in its box. But that's going to go on my upstairs landing. That was always my idea. And yeah, I've got some finishing off to do, and while I'm finishing off, I'll explain a bit more about where the lights are for and what we've done with them. This first light isn't in the Mad Science videos, but I've pulled this one out because it's the most similar I could find to the pendant light that he has adapted. Now this light had a little screw-in bulb, and the one that I'm going to show you in a moment, because it's already in the doll's house, also has got a screw-in bulb. And what he did with this one is he used the base of the original bulb. He took the glass out of the bulb, he broke it, he took it out. Now actually I've got this plastic one here. This is one for filling, a lot bigger. But he broke the plastic and he actually attached the LED to the metal fitting of the lamp, to that bit. And then it's in the fitting. Well, I think that's what he did, because he spent a lot of time removing glass. That light has been fitted because, well, I'll explain when I get into the showing it you. So I'm now going to just nip over to the doll's house and show you that one, which I have done some work on in situ. So here is the pendant light that I have already fitted into what will be Cousin Amy's room. Now I did actually show this on one of my previous videos. Now if I get this the right way around, you can see that lights up. I'm just using the little flat battery, what we single cell battery thingy, just to use it, and I've had to go around the back and fish the wire through. But obviously that's been fitted because I've done the room above it. But you can see that one works. Next light I'm just going to show you is this one, which is a little reading light. Now, I never use these. I've got a couple of them. I never actually use them as a working light because I needed them to be on the side walls, and I couldn't be bothered to notch out the side walls to fit them. Now, I'm probably going to fit this in my library when I do it, and I'm just testing again. You can actually see this time, unlike the one in the Doll's House, I'm using a CR 2032 little battery, just held on the wires, just to show you that this works. Now this one, my husband has used quite a bit of hot glue in. It's not going to be visible. What I will do is I will get my knife and I will tidy it up before it's fitted, but that's looking great. And the other thing I need to do is I need to replace the stuff on the back, the foam pads and things, because they've either had to be removed to get the wires in and out, or they've just given up the ghost, because if you use them, the glue doesn't last very well. So that's that one. Now the next one is one of my favourite lights in my doll's house, and it is this fan light, which I had fitted in my kitchen. Now unfortunately the fan doesn't work. Now I don't doubt that if I left my husband to it for long enough, he'd find a way. I am not prepared to do that. I really am not. Now this one, the wire actually comes out from the side originally. Hopefully I can stick it back up so that that bit isn't visible. But this one, I believe he has put some more hot glue on. Oh, yeah, he's put some more hot melt glue on it. Now I've got to stick this into place, and I'm going to do that with a little bit of UV resin. Now he's put the hot glue there to stop the wires from touching and shorting out. And then I've got to put that in there. And if I just get my, it's a bit lopsided. Why is that lopsided? Has it always been lopsided? I don't know. I get the wires and my little battery, and there we have it. And we're going to get a reasonable amount of light out of that. Hopefully it shows up well enough on screen. That is going to be a brighter light than I had in the past. Now he's got to fit resistors and things when the house is wired together. Hopefully he knows what he's doing, because I don't. And I think that there will be some more videos on the electrics in due course. I actually want to make some lights, so I will be covering that at some point. And also we are hopefully going to get it so that we can turn various ones on and off, but we're not there yet. So this one is going to have a little bit of resin in there, and that's all I need to do on that one. So I'm just going to get the resin out, and I'll be back. This light is another from the Charles Rennie Mackintosh collection that the Doll's House Emporium did the best part of 20 years ago. And that's the same as the one I showed you at the beginning in the packet. Now this one I have already started and put some UV resin on the wires going to the LED, and I have put some resin on the hole so that the LED is not going to move. For the amount of use these are going to get, the LED should last quite some time, so I'm not worried about that. And probably by the time they start going, I'll want to change the doll's house again anyway. Now this light comes with a little glass bulb that fits in there. Let's see if I can do this. No, I got it the wrong way around. And it just makes the light look a little bit better, maybe. Now I need to clean this up before I stick it into place, so I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to find something to wipe it over with, and then I'm going to use a little more UV resin to hold that in place, and we can get on to the final light, which is, quite frankly, really cool. This light is now stuck together. That's not going anywhere. It only took tiniest amount of UV resin to do it. I cleaned the inside of the light with some isopropyl alcohol, some rubbing alcohol on a cotton swab. I do need to just go over the outside again, because obviously my fingers have got on it putting that in there, and there may be fingerprints again, but it's done. And that's going to look brilliant in the doll's house. Now the final light is more than I ever expected it was going to be. Now I bought this light and it was still in the packet, and it is a lava lamp. Well, it's a lava effect lamp. It's made of metal and glass, and it's got this sort of gorgeous glittery effect inside. Now what actually happened was this just lit up, but my husband discovered that actually it came apart really easily, and so now it's got a special trick, and I just love this. Now I've got to try and get this the right way around. There we go, the right way around, and now it changes colour. It's a bit quicker than you might want this kind of thing, but it certainly looks far fancier than it did, and that is going to be brilliant in the doll's house at some point, although I don't know which room I'm going to put it in. It was, I'm afraid, one of those impulse purchases, and that's why it stayed in the packet, because I didn't know where to put it. I still don't, but I've got to fit it now, haven't I? Now, I am just going to say that the one advantage with doing all these lights with LEDs is that I'm not going to need a big transformer. I could effectively run my entire 10-room doll's house on batteries. I'm not sure how we are going to run it, but it could run on batteries, and that is, quite frankly, phenomenal. I'm fortunate that I've been able to plan out where the power outlets are in this room, and I actually planned for there to be one by the doll's house. But my big problem with it before was it needed to be near an outlet so I could plug it in. I won't necessarily need that in the future. So yeah, there we have it. Doll's House lights converted to LEDs. Now, as I say, if you want to know the actual technicalities of it, the whys and wherefores and how the hell did he do that, pop over to Mad Science's channel. And there's a couple of videos there where he goes into details and does some ridiculously fine soldering. I couldn't do it, which is why he got the job. And also, if you actually have a look at his channel, even just at the kind of videos he's got, when I get to do my Mad Scientist's laboratory, things will start to become more and more logical. They'll make a lot more sense because he's inspiring it, and his penchant for weird and wonderful electronic equipment. So I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please like, comment and subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that YouTube can maybe let you know when I've got a video up. But until next time, bye!